everybody, for Infinite Sheep, Earl at thelogbook.com here with something kind of interesting that I found on a VHS tape, transferred it to digital, and it's kind of a testament that in my broadcast career, I was in one of two places at all times. I was either working master control or I was producing stuff, which, producing stuff, that's actually the fun part. Master control is much more technical in nature. I never regret having done both, because I have found as I have gotten older that having an idea but also understanding technically how to execute it, that's a very good intersection to stand at. So what I'm about to show you is something that I shot footage, I forgot footage until I was digitizing tapes many years later, and basically what it is this is kind of a video letter to someone. I have no idea who. I have no memory of who, because I don't think this ever got finished. And I don't think it was ever sent. Let's go ahead and get it started. And the opening stuff seems very B-rollish. 1:41 in the morning. Or at least, 1:41 in the morning Eastern time. So this would have been a little after 12:30. This would have been after midnight local. I do actually show up, unfortunately, on camera and then begin narrating actually a pretty good explanation of what the job was like back then. The only date I have been able to find on this tape to narrow down when this was shot was April 29th, 1995. So at that point, I was straddling the line between master control and commercial and promo production, and also kind of serving as the de facto graphic designer, because this was one of those stations that was so small that you needed to spread out and cover every job description yourself, really. It was insane, but it also meant that you kind of winnowed things out to the very talented people pretty quickly. Now, some of the talented people were also very troubled, but that's not what this show is about, just an observation. Writing stuff down in the log. You have to write down what time every commercial played. And pretty soon, you will be hearing me from almost 30 years in the past as I record this. And I still have no idea who this was intended for. For some reason, I'm thinking it might be my grandfather, although it might have just been a friend of mine. I have no idea. Here we go. Oh, good Lord.
Well, good morning. I don't know if you can actually hear me or not over the hum of equipment. About 50 million TV monitors in the room and all this other stuff going on, but this is who I am and this is what I do. And this is where I seem to do most of it. And you're going to get a good look at this, whether you like it or not, because that's what's coming right after this on this tape. So, please stand by, and I'll be right back with you.
Oh boy.
This is probably about what the station looks like to most everyone else out there. But this is what the station looks like from the inside. Not necessarily a pretty picture, but this is what I see just about every night of the week. In many cases, every night of the week. Little bit of an explanation what everything is. We'll start with the simple stuff. That's a chair. That's about as simple as it gets in here. First off, I guess we have to start with the various monitors for all the various and sundry stations. We are not a high power station, so in order to cover the same amount of area as a larger station, we have a bunch of low power transmitters dotted all over the place. These monitors only cover about half of them. There are, I think, 3 more which are outside of our normal range. Well, in fact, yeah, I can even show you where these things are. Over here, I can show you where these things are in a very roundabout way. We'll get back to what you're seeing right now here in a second. For right now, though, let's see, we'll go down here into my directory on the computer. And one of the things I do here is I design the graphics that people see on the air. And this is one of them. And I'm not sure if you were able to read that at all. These are all the various transmitters we have in operation currently. We just go by 4615. Those 2 are the oldest and just the best known. Hopefully everyone knows that the other ones are out there. Either that or we've wasted a lot of time and money to put all these out there and no one knows they're there just because we identify ourselves by 2 numbers. Anyway, well, since we're right here, we'll start here. This is a fairly high-powered graphics computer you're seeing right here, but that's not all it does. It also gathers weather radar information. By curious coincidence, that is also what this one does. Although this one is dedicated to gathering weather information. The radar that is up there right now, that's the national radar.
I am going to pause this real quick to point out that this AccuWeather thing was actually, I think, a farm data terminal. I'm not quite sure how we came by it, but there was a 5-minute newscast at 9 o'clock every night. It was the dividing line between the end of network programming on Fox and the beginning of us going back to tape programming. And so you would have the end of, whatever was in the 8 o'clock hour on Fox. At 9 o'clock, we would do a little weathercast. Initially, it was Mike Burgess doing that, and I was very happy to ride shotgun as producer with him on a lot of these, especially if we got into big weather events, which, this being a station in Arkansas, this being right in Tornado Alley, it was a thing that happened more frequently than you ever wanted it to. I mean, sometimes it was kind of a source of some excitement to the job, but sometimes it was more excitement than we asked for. I'll put it that way. And I will let past me with that hair. Man, I don't know what's up with that hair. I will let him keep explaining this because, much as it pains me to say this, he is actually explaining things fairly well.
I can also call up Oklahoma's. Well, that's Arkansas's. I'm looking through the viewfinder, so I can't read a thing. There's Oklahoma's. Yeah, this one's rather interesting. I'll go down here and animate this. Yeah, if anything happens interesting with this line of storms, it's moving across northern Oklahoma. We are right here. This thing is it's barreling right down. It'll probably shoot over this immediate area, but it'll be in our viewing area before it's too terribly long. And I won't be too surprised if this computer starts beeping like crazy before the night's out, because it'll pick up storm watches, storm warnings, all kinds of advisories from Oklahoma City, which also covers Tulsa, and also from Little Rock. It also picks up some stuff on the national forecasts. Here, for example, is a storm watch for western and central Oklahoma, and goes into all kinds of details about that. And we don't have much use for the national forecast, but it's part of the package. The Little Rock covers Fort Smith, Little Rock, Fayetteville, all that fun stuff. Tulsa, the local storm watch area. Again, see if anything has changed. Well, northeast, changed things here. Muskogee, Seminole, Stillwater. These are reasonably close, so we may have something in our area. These are the counties listed. Well, actually, right now, nothing in our immediate viewing area, but I guess it's worth keeping in mind. This is heading this way, so this little tour of the station suddenly gets cut short, and don't be too terribly surprised. Let's see. We produce a short nightly weathercast, which we try to keep it short, but it winds up being about 5 minutes or so. And like I said, I do all kinds of graphics for various and sundry occasions, including but not limited to the weather. Let's see if I can get us there. This one's one of my favorites here. This one is one of everyone else's favorites, although I really can't figure out the logic of the pig springing out of the surface of the earth. In case you had not already guessed, the station's call letters are KPBI. There's another flying pig, and I've done the impossible and achieved an important career goal. I've made pigs fly. This is the infamous video toaster. Whether or not we are using it right is anyone's guess. This is the same thing. Well, this is the old 2.0 model here. This was the same computer they used to do special effects in the 2-hour movie for Babylon 5. What do we use it for? Well, we use it to put this little 4615 in the corner. That's mainly what we use it for. We also do various and sundry supers with it. But that is what it does for most of its day, is sit there and keep that little 4615 sort of all ghostly in the corner, as you see there. My goodness, I've missed a dramatic moment in Baywatch. We're coming up on a commercial break. Well, this is the other fun part of my job. And, well, as far as the management knows, it's the main part of my job, although I don't particularly like that. This sheet has all the timings of commercials and things that are going to occur in this program. And we are here. And, no, we are actually down here. My mistake. So after this 5-second bumper here, we have 2 minutes local, and that's what I get to push these buttons to do. In fact, I'll unpush these buttons to demonstrate just how strange and complex this job is. This controls what is going out over the air. It probably looks fairly simple. I mean, how complex can you get with 24 buttons? The answer is very complex. In order to make one switch, I have to hit this button, select the source that I want to take a signal from, in this case 6, which is this computer back here, of which more later, and I have to hit enter at the appropriate time, and that'll pretty much launch that signal onto the air. Enter is not a button you want to hit at the wrong time. The show is currently running out of this video player, which the tapes are a bit larger than your average VHS. Okay, here's our 5-second bumper. And there's our little commercial. I'll go ahead, since this is running out of player 3, set it up to go back to player 3 and be standing by. All of our commercials come off of this computer here.
Get out! Vinny, there's gonna be an attack. I wasn't paying attention.
Saturday at 6 on KPBI.
And all of our commercials, all of our promotional items spring from this drive. This thing is actually not one hard drive, it's a rack containing 6 very large hard drives. And all of the commercials are compressed, but there is full motion video and only mono audio, but since we only broadcast in mono, that's this as well. Okay, we have another minute of commercials left.
I should point out that very large hard drives back then, I can't remember the exact numbers. I'm thinking they were probably something like 40 megs. And so, very compressed video, but also very low power signal, so I'm not sure anyone really noticed. The native resolution of this YouTube video is higher than the native resolution of that thing which was called the virtual recorder, the VR, which caused us no end of amusement when a Power Rangers ripoff appeared and in syndication. We bought it called VR Troopers. So naturally, we all became VR Troopers, whether we wanted to or not.
This computer works in tandem with the control board over here, in that we can write a program schedule telling the board what to do, because we can theoretically just about completely automate this station. The instructions here are in fact the same ones you saw on that monitor over there, only for a brief second. We can write up a set of instructions on this computer, dump them over to the control board, and the control board will happily sit there and fire things away. And this computer is also used to organize the commercial playlists that will tell the computer back here what commercials to play whenever the control board tells it to go. It's a very strange and complicated system, and even I don't understand all of it just yet. Okay, one thing I need to do here is get our next show ready to air. Player 1 is open. Let's see if I can focus here. It's terrible to be walking around blurry all the time like that. You should see a doctor. We search through for the beginning of the show.
Fear not, there's only a couple of minutes of this left.
Is there a beginning to this show?
No, there is not. It's the infinite sheet.
There it is. Labors of Love, our own locally produced monster. Okay. Whoa. Might have to re-cue that. That was very good. Alright. Okay. So that player is ready to play our next show, which has no commercials in it. It's a locally produced religious program. That's right. It's a 30-minute infomercial for God. Let's see. Presumably this has our next spots set up. The weird arrangement we have, I'll show you this corner here in a little bit because it's rather an interesting part of this room at the moment. The control board here is linked to the commercial computer, and whenever we give instruction 6 to the control computer here, whenever we tell it to go to source number 6, it sends a pulse back here to the commercial computer, which will then fire the commercials through the line on source 6 and onto the air. The commercial computer, in order to operate correctly, better get ready to fire that thing off, has a set of instructions which look terribly blurry on this little composite monitor, which is just coming off as the monitor back there with an AVER key. It has to have a predetermined set of instructions telling it, what commercials to play. The control board is telling it, well, I'm going to take the commercial computer for 2 minutes. If the commercial computer doesn't have anything set up for 2 minutes, then it's just going to sit there in black for a duration of roughly 2 minutes, which would be really fun. So one must always have the set of instructions loaded there and there. This is why these two monitors are sitting to where you have to be able to see them. Excuse me. While you're running the control board.
Okay, that's the end of... That's like the first 15 minutes of something close to an hour and a half of footage. But I figure that's way, way more than enough. More than you bargained for when you clicked play on this video. And again, what mystifies me is, who is this intended for? I was saying earlier maybe I was going to send it to my grandfather, but I was sitting there talking about stuff like Babylon 5, which was a show we carried, and a show I'm still a big fan of. I, definitely didn't have to twist my arm to sit at the board and watch that. I was talking about that as if the person who was going to receive what was almost certainly going to be an edit of this on VHS tape, like they would know what that was, or that they would know what VHS tapes were, and they would understand this basic broadcast lingo that it was kind of hard to not use. Although I'll give 30 years ago me a little pat on the back. Actually, a fairly decent explanation of the function of everything there and what I was doing. Now, I do apologize that I believe this was shot with my VHS camcorder. So I was not using the station camera. I was using my own camera and shooting this on VHS. So the good news is I'm pretty sure that digital transfer was from the first generation video. However, I do apologize for the fact that I was, doing this, going everywhere with the camera, and I don't deal well with first-person video games because I get motion sickness, and watching that was giving me mild motion sickness. So, dude, tripod, lock it off. Sit and talk, or shoot steady B-roll and record a voiceover later. Of course, I say that like it's so easy now. Back then, it really was all on tape. We were, with that computerized spot playback, we were on the bleeding edge. Because at the time, I believe Channel 40 was using a system called Odie, which was this giant mechanical contraption that would pull tapes and put them into a finite number of players and do crazy things like that. And we were really out there on the bleeding edge of beta testing this system. And I think that also reduced the cost of it, because we were really giving it its first live fire test. So, there's a lot going on there. There's more to that tape. It will be the fuel for future videos. Not immediately. It won't be the next one. Don't worry about that, because I have to give us all time to recover from the first-person camcorder motion sickness. But that was 1995. That was my life. That was my life in 1995. It consisted of, if I wasn't there, I was at home with my cats, calling up dial-up BBSs because the internet was not widely a thing yet. And now that I think about it, oh no, nothing's changed.